What do I sit right here?
Yeah, well, I mean, sit or stand, but, and then this is right. That.
Wait. What's the video I'm putting up?
That's here.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yeah, once you hit play.
Oh, okay, stop it then. Okay. And then where do I hit it again?
And then when you go over here, that will bring you to that. Okay,
Where do I hit that again?
right up top.
Where?
Right up here. So it's right,
No,
the link right
that's for
next to it.
that, but, okay.
What I have come to today is announcing in our marketing. So sometimes you can like already is a video with 3 agents who are and then I'm going to get into less and less. So do you want to start that?
Oops. Hey, what did I do? It's here. Where did he go? Yeah, there we go. Oh, sorry, James.
All about the equity analysis of gold. And then it was higher.
Can you turn that off, Wendy?
Excited to have Linda.
To all to be here. My name is Lachey Chevalier. I am based out of Houston, Texas, with an expansion team in New Orleans, Louisiana. I am a master group coach and a master coach.
We're so excited to have you. By the way, you're here because you're flying you're flying good with gold, and their flight was late. You're like sitting at the car rental. So thank you for making it happen. This is what gold coaches do and all the stuff they go through. Thank you, Lachey, so much. Chris, tell us who you are, where you're from.
Hi, thanks for having me today. I am Chris Trustwoods in Milwaukee, Southwest. I have been homes for now 28 years this month. I'm also an active investor in the Market Center and the compliance broker.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. Doing a great job. We're happy to have you. Thanks, Chris. And finally, Linda, introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from.
Hi, I'm Linda Brennan. I am in Wellington, Florida, Western Palm Beach County. And I am a team leader
team, which consists of me, my husband, a buyer's agent, and an admin. And I serve on the ALC and I'm in my 17th year.
Great, awesome. Well, we're happy to have all three. Michelle, I want to start with you because you've introduced this concept of the equity analysis today, and really it's taken off and shift ahead. In fact, this year we challenged everybody just do one a day. So Deshae, take a second. For those who don't know, some people like equity analysis have not heard of that. I don't know what that is. Explain the concept of an equity analysis and what it is. Would you do that for us?
Absolutely. So the equity analysis is basically what they actually can walk away from their home should they fail. So what I did was I took the golden letter and I tweaked it and played around with it until I got something that really worked. So I went through all of my database records, everybody I've ever purchased a home, and I looked at what they bought it for. Of course, we don't know what they bought. So I looked at what they bought it for. And then I looked at the market trends in their community and I put a midpoint. So if you list your house with me today, this is what you can potentially walk away with. And it can be a lot more based on what you actually owe. And so I started mailing that letter out and all that.
Yeah. Actually, you were telling me your team in Houston did 74 transactions last year, $20 in volume. Took 32 listings. 21 of those listings were from the equity analysis.
Yes, I literally leveled up last year, 2019, when the pandemic hit, I was finding my way and rehabbing the team and dealing with code, and I was like, okay, well, I need to do something at a much higher level. And I said, okay, let's focus 100% on listing. And so that's what we did. We just started focusing on listing, showing people the value, and it just went crazy.
This is clearly your number one strategy for listing. You took 32 and 21 of them were the equity analysis. Choosing to lean into this idea has totally changed your business. If you look, you went from 38 sold units in 2020 to 74 sold units in 2021. This has had a massive impact on your business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, Chris, I want to come to you because you've really used this as well. And you're being very purposeful about reaching out to your database to walk through this. Similar to what Shay's sending a letter. Chris, you're calling. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
So I started out calling, and what I did was I had my assistant do a certified in a group reading. And so I had her create a spreadsheet of those that had bought between 3 to 10 years prior. And then I went through the list and most likely to want to make them move up to the first time buyer. I started calling them. And last year, that created 17 transactions for us. This year, I've now tweaked it, and I'm using the DTV2 system. And so I'm now sending an email the Friday before that week's to call. And it's just a quick text that just says, hey, just checking in, you might want to know with that value change. So I'm getting people coming to me in that specific group that I'm already calling. I know ahead of time who I'm going to do that equity analysis for. I know the house. I can have a net proceeds sheet done, and then I'm calling them and scheduling Zoom calls. And in January, I was actually out sick 2 weeks, but I still did 9 Zooms. And of that, I got 5 appointments set, and I got 3 listings out of it, and I have 2 more appointments from that this week, both are ready to sell.
All right, there's a lot there, Chris. You gave us a lot. So we're going to slow it down. We're going to unpack it a tiny bit. The way you started this equity analysis, when you first talked about it on the mastermind call, many of you guys know, we do a daily call, 8 a.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday, and Pivot Shift Ahead. It's open to anybody. PivotShiftCall.com is how you join the Zoom. And Chris, we brought this up because Deshae told me about it. So we brought it up on that call, and you go implement right away. And you're very strategic. You said, all right, I'm going to look at my database. People who did, what did you say, 3 to 10? Yes. What was magic about that window? Why did you call everybody? When you started, what was that 3 to 10? Why was that important?
I picked that window because we knew that equity increase has been skyrocketing. Those that bought in 2010, before things started to pick up again, bought low. I knew they would have a lot of equity in their homes that they wouldn't know unless I told them. And those that bought even years ago, had quite a bit of equity increase. And I wanted to target the people that I knew had a lot of growth and that were most likely to make a move.
Okay, so that's why you picked that group. And then you would call them, is my understanding. You would call and ask them to hop on a Zoom to review this. What did that conversation sound like?
Actually, it was pretty easy call. It was mostly a peer call and oh, by the way, would you be interested in knowing the current value of the home? I think you'd be quite sad to know what it is. And he says, well, of course I would want to. Great, let's go and let's get on a quick Zoom. Do you have time now? I already had the Dallas is fun and we just get on the Zoom and everybody was shocked. Like, we have that much. I would always ask, how much do you all do a quick net? So it was a pretty simple start out with a peer call and an oh, by the way, if you're interested in knowing the value of your career.
Absolutely fascinating. And we're going to talk about like, how you kind of come up with this data in a little bit. But I want to start at the beginning because it's a really good place to start. And so we're walking through the strategy of what you're doing. And then you said DTD2 this year. Now, for those of you watching don't know what that is, from Steve Schluter and Tammy Youngst in their Never Apps, where this is 2 letters of the alphabet by last name every single week. They teach it in bold, the shades, And so now you're just following that schedule. And it sounds like to me, you're calling, you're texting everybody with that last name. Hey, would you be interested in this? I'm going to reach out. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, so let's go to Linda. Linda, I'm excited to hear from you because I'm sure you're doing some similar things and maybe some things that are a little bit different. Tell us a little bit about your strategy.
Thank you, James. Thank you for the opportunity. I have, so I've always used the RPR valuation in my listing presentation, and I use it as an auto value.
Hold on, time out. Now we're using more letters. People get confused when we use all the fancy letters. So tell them about the RPR, because this is something that most likely everybody who's watching this has access to and they may not know. So tell us about the RPR.
Okay, so that's the Realtor's Property Resource, and I choose that as an auto value. And you can go in and adjust it to, but I like to do that outside of the MLS. So I just do it as an auto value, and it provides a really nice, well-written report with charts and graphs, and I use that, and then I go into my MLS and I run my own prompts and I make my adjustments by hand so that they can see me doing the work. And like in math class, I see the work there, and that way, to me, it feels like I'm proving to them why they need me because I'm giving them more information than they can find out. Right. This year I did it for my VIP database, which was a whole different feel because I knew the house, I knew and so I could customize it to their specific needs, and that like conversations that I don't think I would have had if I had started there.
What have your results been now that you've been doing this? You go in and which by the way, the National Association. You have access to this tool. So you're using that tool to go do an evaluation. You're then logging the MLS, kind of doing a quick CMA and showing them the work. That sounds pretty labor intensive.
Not really, because I got the RPR reports, because it's just putting in an address, and then to do a CMA for myself really shouldn't take me much more than 30 minutes. Even less really, but so if it's going to resolve the listing to me, that's fine.
Well, how many listings has it turned into?
Well, I've done it in a lot of different ways. I just had one of the other ways was I needed a rental. I needed a rental for a customer that I sold their house. So I was getting frustrated because I couldn't find anything. So I decided to look up landlords that lived their primary residence in New York. They rented their Florida property 8 months ago. And I sent them, the report on the comps. And I said, and a letter stating what I need was that I can help them find a renter. And it turned into a listing for a $950,000 home. So, and I just went with them the other day, they're still thinking about it, but they had no idea what the market was like. They had no idea on the building that's going on down here. And they hadn't seen their property in a couple years.
That is absolutely fascinating. Okay, so Jay, I want you to get a great question for you. All right. Look, I don't have any past clients. You know, I don't have people to reach out to and check in on that I sold houses to, you know, several years ago. Jay, what would you, as a coach, what would your recommendation be for agents like that?
Fun for me to pick up your phone. I call it my percolator. So if you pick up your phone, I'm sure you have hundreds of people in your phone and you can start there. On those conversations up and reintroduce yourself, re-engage. And ask for the business, don't be a secret agent. And then once you went through your phone, start going on Facebook, the media account. So this is the thing. We allow our house. And look at everything we do on our Facebook page, we don't know them. Yet, we don't ask them for the business. So it's a little button in there that you can just call them through Facebook and just start engaging in conversations. And then that way you can find out who's in there and who does not. And then go to every social media account and just, you can even upload. It's a way that you can upload to social media straight into your plan. And then just start making those calls.
So reach out to everybody because many people that you know own a home. They probably have equity. Chris, what advice would you give about, I don't know, who to call, when to call, what to say, and all that kind of stuff?
I think that the best advice is to go through the group that you're calling, or do a search and find those people that are either, you know, if they bought with you, they were first time buyers and they said this is now your forever home. They don't know how much equity they have and they look like shocked, or anybody that's been in their home for 10 years. They're most likely to be thinking of moving. You just have to have the conversation. Look, here's how much equity you have, and they typically don't realize it, and then be prepared to have the conversation about asking the question where we want to go.
Okay, well then, okay, this is good because people do. You call them and they find out they've got $100,000 of equity in their house. Excuse me, they have no idea. I'm all choked up. They have no idea they have that much money in their house, and they want to take advantage of that. Rates are still historically low. They've got free money, basically, right? I was talking to my wife the other day. The house we're in now, we bought from the equity from the previous house. We bought from the equity from the previous house, which we put $5,000 down, right? So our $5,000 has turned into a house now that my agent keeps calling me and says I can get $725 for it. It only cost me $5,000, 10 years ago to start this process. So they go learn. They got all this cash free records in their house, but then they go, Chris, where am I going to go? Sure, I want to take advantage of that, but now what? What's your conversation like with that?
Well, the question is, where do you want to go? Find out what's important to them, and then I have always suggest first to have a conversation with my preferred lender, because last year, all 17 of those sellers that moved, every single one of them was able to buy without selling. And so then I'd say, okay, you've got to buy a home, your new home without selling the existing home. So you don't have to worry about being homeless. As soon as you've gotten it accepted off, when we get through inspection, we're going to put your home on the market. All but one, and that one was by choice, had their home sold and were able to buy without even using that equity line of credit.
Linda, I'm curious for you, what has been the biggest surprise that you've seen in your business as you have really implemented this equity analysis concept? What's happened that surprised you, Linda?
I think what surprised me is how much I can use it and how many different ways. As now, from one of the mega camps, I took away, get more out of what you're already doing. And so I'm looking at everything like door knocking. We've taken them door knocking when we're taking a listing, when we're going to invite them to the open house. Now we're taking the brochures from, after we sold and putting one in there and sending it to homes in the neighborhood. Like I said, I used it for a rental. We're talking to our database about home improvements or, upsizing, downsizing, maybe for to know your value because of insurance. It's leading into referrals, more because I guess maybe I'm giving them more ideas. But just using it in many different ways.
I'm gonna
Lots of
stop
training for it.
this
So it
right
sounds
here
like-
if I can.
and Linda, you correct me if I'm
Do you know
wrong,
how I stop it?
But just asking people, hey, are you curious about how much your home might be for today's
I
market?
want to get
That would
into
be
the
a
other
really
one.
good question, just about anybody.
Yeah, it usually comes up, you know,
Mm.
anyway. There's a,
Yeah.
they're always curious about the market, but this just gives a little more in-depth conversation.
So Shane, so Linda says there's opportunity across multiple ways, not necessarily calling the database. You know, when she's door knocking for a listing, which is one of her strategies, and so on and so forth. What has been surprising to you about how the equity analysis is turning into business? Because again, I look at it, and you effectively
Right.
doubled your business by
Yeah.
going all in with the equity analysis.
Absolutely. I mean, that's mind blowing. What we say, James, that's just something kind of easy. And most of the time we know what to do and we just
I
don't
want
do
to
it.
go to the other. Okay, so that's ideas. That's how people are really making money with this. So then next question is, how do you do it? This is a benefit of Bright. Anyone who's a member of the National Association of Realtors has a right to use this. And any address that you put in across the nation is in here for the most part. Now, I say that and I caution you because condos, sometimes they have one address. It might be 2400 Greenwood and it has like 100 apartments. That doesn't work as well. But for the most part, everything else does. So I ask that computers come in case you want to hop on your own site. And it's as simple as this. Okay, so this is the home. Is this the home page? Okay, we go into research. And somebody give me an address. No, I'm on, okay. Okay, anyone want to volunteer an address? Tall Pine? And you can see, you don't even need to put the whole thing in. And then you put that up and it will bring up the property itself. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you people a little something, and I don't want anybody to tell Gary Keller this. So I used to call people and wanted to tell them that their property appreciated a little bit. And I used to go on to Zillow to do this. Okay, so, and I didn't realize I had this at my disposal. The thing that Zillow doesn't tell you or other sites don't tell you is about the property itself. So if you go down here, you can see how John and Michelle, they own the property and they bought that property in 2015. Now, where that makes me feel good is say that John and Michelle, I sold them the house in 2015. So when I put that in there and I see that they still own the house, I know that they didn't make the awful mistake of not calling me back to sell the house and somebody else bought it, okay? That they still own the property itself. So you have all of that information and you have the information, how much did I sell them the house for? Well, it says it right there. You know, you sold them the house for $260,000. And you know all this information just because you put an address in. So what I also want to do is I love this where it says refine the value. The thing that you can see right here, they bought it for $250 or $260. It is now worth $349,000. However, if I scroll down, I see refined value. And what kind of a market are we in right now? sellers, a hot market. So this average, I just move up like that. If I know that they have rehabbed that house and it is a beauty, I then move that up too. And all of a sudden, their market value goes from 349, 650 to 374, 443. It just did that. So I want to create a report. So I'm going in here, going to create a report, and I choose the report to make. Now, this first report is a 28-page report, and that's pretty good. The seller's report of 81 pages, if you go to email that to someone, it's not going. So don't do that. What I usually do is the mini report right here. And all I need to do is press mini report. And then I run the report. And then what do you think I do? Yeah, I get on the phone and I say, hey, this is what I have. You want to get on a Zoom call with me? It'll take you 5 minutes. Into, well, a lot of my, one listing. And if you're going to ask me, let me see. Oh, I do a lot. I do at least 5 a day. Okay, at least, but how much time did it take for me to do? Did it take me any time? And I'm going to call, and then the doorbell rings when it's done. And then you just download this. I download it onto my computer. And the reason I do that is because I might want to email it to them. I don't know what I'm going to want to do. Everybody else is cooking too, right? All right, and see the report's right there. All right, so, and the report is really simple. He's late. I'm not going to admit him. Okay, so you can see where it's written, some of your high Cs here will really love what's written about them. You'll get calls from people saying, hey, they have something wrong with my house. You know, I put a pool there or whatever, but you're going to make that call. Depending on who the person is. If it's one of my VIPs and I don't get them on the phone, I tell them I'm emailing them this report. Let me know how much you owe on your home. I'll text that to them. They'll text it back to me. We'll go back and forth. And if it's somebody that I don't know, maybe I was door knocking and I don't know them, I'm going to want to talk to them. You know, so it depends. You all know how to gauge your clients. And it's as simple as that. And then you bring it back to go back to reports. And then you come up here and you do it again. So you asked me how many reports. See, these are all the reports that I've done. And I have 69 of them done right now. So it's 68. And that was from what, about the second week in January, maybe the third week in January. And a lot of these are planting the seeds. You know, you're sending them out just because someone knows they have $250,000 sitting on their property. They're not going to list today. But the one call I did get was, you know, we've been thinking about it and come out and tell me what you think. That says $700,000 listing. Is it worth 10 minutes of your time?
And bought it for three. It was estimated at 466. I don't know about the insider's property yet. If I send that to him, maybe like, oh shit. And then you go.
Okay, so how would you work that? What would be the first thing you would ask?
Before I went, or what
Yeah,
about it?
yeah, when you're talking,
What are did you do any activities in the last 5 years?
right, right, and,
What are they? And
okay,
can you explain?
right. So I don't know if people do pre-listing packages or pre-listing questions. If you send that out and you can refine it that way.
Okay.
And let's face it, in this market, do we really know what a house is going to sell for? Do we? I mean, my head blows off every time I put a house on the market. And so what do we say to our sellers? Knowing the real value. Yeah. And that the market will. And we do remember the times, or some of us do remember the times where we kind of didn't want to do these because we sold that house in 2005 to them. And if we would have went back in 2010, we would have been, it would have tanked. Okay. So that's why it's vital right now to make those calls. And how is this market we're in right now different than 2010? Anybody? Yeah. Mhm. Right. Right. People needed to have to put real money into it. Back then, they could breathe on a mirror and get approved. You know, so it was crazy. It was crazy, but this is one guy that I did. I sold him this house like back in, is it going to tell me? This is what it's worth today, 310, and I must have, what is it? Sometimes it tells me something. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to caution you. Sometimes you know the area and that number will be way too high. Okay. Sometimes that number will be way too low. There are a lot of people that I sold houses to in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia can go house to house. So if I sold someone a house in Brewery Town and it's telling me that it's worth 300, and I know, because I know that market, that house is 500, that report doesn't go out. Okay. Then I would need to make that decision accordingly. So you have to know your market. You really do. The good thing it does for me is the prices, the values are up so high that every time I look at them, I can't believe them. So what do you think you know, we're the ones that are leading this industry, that are educating people. So we need to be acquainted with what the houses are going for. I mean, I sold a house this weekend and it was on for a couple hours, and it sold 40,000 over. And it needs everything. It was like 1968. I haven't done anything to my house and it needed everything. 40 over. So now when I was walking door knocking the other day and I was telling people how much I was putting that house on the market for, I had to caution those sellers that this is a baseline house. They haven't done anything since 1968. So really that house sold at about 440. And the next house that's all decked out will sell between 550 to 600, somewhere. So you need to know your area, but this will give you a little bit of leverage there. I don't know. I have no idea. Somewhat accurate. And our, yeah, somewhat. It's better than Zillow. Okay, it is better than Zillow. We do have control with the refine button. I know that there was one that I pulled up the other day and I thought, oh, this is way off. You know, this is way off. But this one, when I pulled this one, some of them I pull up and I know it's too low. This one was, I sold this to them at about 490, maybe a year ago. And that's where it is, 592. And that doesn't surprise me. 490, they bought it low, it needed a hug. And 592 does not surprise me one bit, but I know that area. What, 592? I think if I put it on the market at 592, I probably get an offer at 625. Yeah, it's in, it's not going on the market, but it's in Warrington, it's in Heritage Creek, not Heritage Creek, what, Legacy Oaks. And yeah, I know if I put that up at 599, it would be in the 600s without a doubt. Yeah. So this is a tool. The thing is, it's a tool. And when you go and you're talking to your sellers, you're talking to your database, I am the first one to tell my database in this market, I have no idea. I am just a guideline. I know that the prices are going up. I'll tell you what's too much to ask, but I'll also tell you, you know, the approximate value. Most of these people are looking just to, you know, some people might just want to pull some equity out of their house. You know, it's a lot of money there.
Running into any appraisal problem?
Not recently. Is there any wood I can? I'm finding that a lot of the appraisals are catching up. Also, the agreements that I'm accepting, they have to have gap money. Yeah, they have to have gap money. So that I don't worry about the appraisal as much, because we don't have control over that any which way you think. You know, we think we can pinpoint it. But then if you get a crazy appraiser, I mean, I've had deals in the past year blow up because of appraisals. And now those poor buyers who walked from that deal, they lost a lot of money because of that, because now the property is even up higher. So I'll be happy to walk anybody through this, and I do it in all different ways. I call my investors and tell them their properties are up, and if they want me to run an RPR for them, I'll run it. And it's a service we're giving. And isn't that the way you build your reputation? I'm sure there is. I don't think this would be, school search. Yeah, there is one. Yeah, there's a map search. You can draw a little map if you needed to. You know, anything is garbage in, garbage out. But that's, you know, all of this is just another way that you can put yourself out in front of the consumer, in front of your clients, give value of why we're so important. And in this market, we're really important. Any other questions? Okay, so you saw a little bit of James Shaw, and like he's now one of my buddies. And but he has a shift thing running on Wednesday and Thursday between 1 and 5. Gary Keller is hopping in on Thursday. So
So that one, you do want to register for. We tell everybody we can, everyone that they do get on calls every morning, masterminding the people from California, people from California. So it's pivotshift.com. And it's just, and you just want to go to our show. Even if you go to like the pivot,
whatever it is, yeah.
Resources in there, that we bring off of the tape all the time. And
We
just
do.
in their files, there's resources stuff. We haven't got to that, you know, we're willing to share. You know,
Yeah.
how we do everything, because it's been shared with us.
And
Is it different content on
oh, I don't know. I don't know. I just know I'll do it and it will be recorded. So if you have a point, I mean, that's a pretty big chunk of time. The pivot call. If you get on that call and you get on that Zoom call and you have something to say, especially if you are a person that hasn't been on it, make sure you do it, because there are over, what, 2,000 people, agents across the country that hop on that call every day. Now, we've been hopping on since March 2020, so we're almost going on 2 years now. And we go down to all of the pivot events. We were at the pivot event at Family Reunion. And it is amazing that people across the country know me by my name and know where I'm from, because I never shut up. But part of, you know, I try only to say things that are try, but it will build your brand.
So the workshop is to pivot from the show. You know, this to work, so it is going to 2 days of this.
So you can hop on it at 7:30, and 7:30 is kind of, they'll be talking about anything from what's the best dog to have to really concrete ways in following up with a multiple offer situation. They'll talk, you know, so there's a gamut, but at 8 o'clock, it gets cut off and it's serious stuff. And that's from 8 to 8:20. All right. I usually try to do it during my walk in the morning. So I'm on at, 7:30 and listen to some of the nonsense. Today, they were talking about, what were they talking about? I don't know. Yeah, she doesn't like the nonsense. I like nonsense.
But so many people are talking that I get like from 8 to 8. How you do that. Every day, somebody says, but somebody will say something, 4 out of the 5 days. Yeah. This morning it was about one thing. Yesterday was about mindset, how we need to get our minds going the right way. So
Yeah. You don't have to be a KW agent to be on. I mean, anybody can be on it. I've recruits, I've recommended that they get on it. My daughter who went to family reunion with me, and I've been telling her since March 2020 to get on this call. And she went with me to the live pivot at family reunion. Now she's on it every day. I mean, it only took 1.5 years for her to listen to me. So, yeah, she won't miss it now. She won't miss it now. So, yeah.
yeah, you have to register for it and then you'll get your point. Or you can just go on the Facebook.
Yeah. Okay, and then guys, if you have any questions, I'm always here. Okay, not always here, but I'm always around. Okay, thank you. I forgot about the people on Zoom.